You've been there, right? A crisis just explodes, everything is falling apart, people are panicking, and then there's that one person. That one person who stays completely, almost unbelievably steady. You just look at them and wonder, are they even on the same planet as the rest of us? Okay, let's dive into this because what's really going on inside their mind is so much more fascinating than you might think. You know, the first thing we all assume is that they must be emotionless, or maybe they just don't care, or they don't get how serious things really are. But the psychological reality, it's way, way deeper. What looks like a lack of feeling is actually a rare and powerful strength, a kind of superpower that's been forged and developed over time. So, if it's not a lack of feeling, then what in the world is it? Well, that brings us right to the heart of the mystery we're exploring today. What is the psychological secret behind that calm person in the middle of a storm? I am positive we have all had these thoughts. You're looking at them, you're feeling the chaos just swirling around you, and you're thinking, how are you not freaking out right now? Honestly, it can feel almost unnatural, maybe even a little unsettling. And here is the absolute key. It's not that they don't feel the stress. Oh, they do. They absolutely understand the stakes. The difference is they have developed a mastery over their internal response. It's a skill that's been built, piece by painful piece, through things they've gone through in the past. So, how exactly is this mastery built? Well, the first key concept is just fascinating. Psychologists have this perfect analogy to explain how this strength is acquired. They call it a vaccine against stress. It's called stress inoculation, and it works almost exactly like a medical vaccine. You know how a vaccine introduces a tiny piece of a virus to build immunity? Well, surviving a truly difficult past experience inoculates the brain against panic. So when a new crisis hits, the brain doesn't just see it as this unprecedented catastrophe. Instead, it has a reference point for something worse, something it already survived. And the process is really simple, but so profound. First, you face something truly incredibly tough. Then, somehow, you endure it. You make it through to the other side. And that third step, that's where the magic happens. Your brain literally rewires itself. You become psychologically vaccinated against future panic, and that's what allows you to stay steady when other people might be breaking down. Okay, the second trait is more of an active skill, something these folks do right in the heat of the moment. It is all about harnessing the incredible power of the pause. So what's so important here is this idea of creating space. Instead of an immediate, knee-jerk, impulsive reaction to whatever's happening, they intentionally pause. And that tiny little gap of time, it's everything. It gives logic and reason a chance to step in and guide what they do next. It stops the chaos of the situation from taking complete control of their mind. So if their reactions aren't being controlled by the situation, then what is guiding them? Well, that brings us to their internal compass, the fundamental source of their strength and stability. People who are steady tend to operate with a strong internal locus of control. Basically, their sense of worth and their identity is rooted inside themselves. Now compare that to an external locus of control, where your self-worth is like a puppet being pulled by outside factors, your job, your reputation, what other people think. So when chaos hits, the person with an external locus feels like their entire identity is under attack. But the one with an internal locus, they remain stable. And this is the result. This is the payoff. Because their core identity isn't tied up in what's happening around them, they don't feel personally destroyed when the world goes sideways. This gives them a really rare kind of freedom, the freedom to just assess the situation, adapt, and focus on rebuilding, without their ego getting in the way. Okay, next up is a highly developed survival skill that lets them perceive the world differently, especially when things get messy. They have this just uncanny ability to see right through the chaos. This skill is known as hyper-awareness. It's often developed from having to navigate really tough situations in the past. It's this incredible ability to read a room in an instant, notice those subtle shifts in how people are acting, and just sense what's really going on beneath the surface. They see the little details that everyone else misses. So while most people are distracted by the noise, the shouting, the panic, all the surface-level drama, these individuals just cut right through it. They rely on this sharp, battle-tested instinct to see the real patterns in the chaos, and that's what allows them to find a logical, intentional path forward. And this brings us to our final, and maybe the most powerful concept of them all.
It's this idea that these incredible strengths don't just show up in spite of hardship. A lot of the time, they emerge because of it. Psychologists call this post-traumatic growth. And it's such a profound shift in how we think about hardship. It shows that true resilience isn't something you're just born with in a comfortable life. It's a mental fortitude that's literally forged in the fire of past challenges, where all that pain is transformed into a quiet, unbreakable endurance. So, to bring it all together, these are the 5 core traits we've talked about. First, stress inoculation, that's the vaccine against panic. Second, the power of the pause, creating that crucial space for logic. Third, an internal locus of control, which gives them that unshakable self-worth. Fourth, hyper-awareness, the ability to see through all the noise. And finally, post-traumatic growth, the amazing process that turns struggle into true strength.
So if you are that person, if you're the one who stays calm when the world feels loud and chaotic, I really want you to let this sink in. Your steadiness is not a flaw. It is not a sign that you are broken or unfeeling. It is a sign that you have developed a rare and profound type of psychological power. And that leaves us with one last question for you to think about. We all face challenges, big and small. The real question isn't just about what happened to you. It's about what kind of strength that past has forged within you.